There's PvE servers available as well as regular servers, so we recognize that there are players in the game who don't want to necessarily deal with griefing and PvP combat, and so we offered PvE as an option, and that's what we're going to be doing today so that I can talk through this with you guys and we don't run into any players looking to have a little fun with me while I'm doing this. So let's move into the customization menu real quick, and I'll explain this really fast. So customizing in the game now works on the fly anytime. You can swap it, it doesn't matter. You don't need any special tool bench, you don't need to be in any special location, you can be anywhere in the game. We offer 8 different hairstyles, one of them is bald, so obviously my hair is not poking through my hat so you can't see it, my haircut doesn't really matter. But then we've got a large assortment of masks that are go in your face wear, and you can click on these items and preview them, as well as you can put on a helmet. And so these can go in collaboration together to make your character kind of like dress up to however you feel fit, as well as if you're playing with your friends and say you guys all want to be firemen, we're not going to stop you from all being firemen. Now you'll notice that some of these cosmetics are acquired for GC, others are acquired for GD, which is zombie currency that can be acquired in game. Other ones, like this brown tanker, they don't actually have an acquisition method shown. So this shows that it is an available cosmetic, but you're going to have to find it through another avenue in the game. Could be a liberation, could be another way. So we have multiple progression paths for cosmetics. For shirts, same thing here. We've got quite a lot of shirts, including a lot of shirts depending on your nationality. If maybe you want to show some pride from your country, you can do that now. And then leg wear. Pretty self-explanatory, but basically now we really want to encourage players to be able to customize at any time. If you're in a desert biome, we want you to dress up so that you blend in with the desert. If you're in a town, maybe you want a more urban outfit. If you're in darkness, you're probably going to want something a little bit darker. But all these can be changed at any time, and once they're unlocked, they are permanent and they cannot be dropped on death, and they're not lost. They also provide 0 protection. So that takes me on over to my backpack, since now that cosmetic items you can dress however you want, and since you don't lose it on death, how do you get armor in the game? So we have this new system with our 2 armor slots. Basically one of them, as you can see, looks like a body armor, another one looks like a helmet. These are your 2 armor slots, and so you can take your armor and place it in either of these slots. You can be wearing up to 2 at a time, and it doesn't actually affect your character cosmetically. It allows you to dress up however you want. We've basically got a new thing with cases. These are available throughout the world. You can find them either from zombies or just looting around in the terrain. Inside they have cosmetic items that are permanent cosmetics for weapons. We also have permanent cosmetics like some of these that come in crates, like the Plague Wolf shirt that I'm actually wearing on my character right now is a crate item. As well as we've got a Liberator case, which comes from Liberating Towns, which I'll talk more about in a little bit, as it's one of our new cool PvE type gameplays, even though it will attract PvP players. But basically it works very similarly to CSGO. You can basically, once you've got a case, you can take a key and you can unlock. So as I kill some zombies, I'll probably end up finding some cases. I'll end up unlocking a case and show you guys how that works. But once I did unlock it, it's going to then give me a gift box. These gift boxes do not drop on death. The keys don't drop on death either. And they can be traded. So in the event that, say, you get a cosmetic that you already have, like I believe I've already got this. Oh, no, I do not. So it consumed it. But in the event that I had this, let's see here. You received Decimator. There we are. Okay, there we go. So you've already got that cosmetic item. So since I've already got this cosmetic item, it won't let me consume it. It won't drop on death, and so I can then take this to the safe zone and basically try and trade it with another player that's probably interested in collecting this item. We have this case even. Let's show you how this cosmetic case works. So you can basically hit unlock, and if you're familiar with CSGO, it works very similarly to that. Oh, looks like, are we gonna get lucky? Almost on a legendary. Almost. Instead we got the Black Skull shirt. So what that's gonna do is that's gonna end up putting this gift box right into our inventory like this. This can then be traded to other players. It doesn't drop on death because it was from a cosmetic crate, and if I unwrap it, it will give it to me permanently, or I can even drop it on the ground for another player to take. So if you have duplicates, you can trade them, you can sell them to other players. It's really up to you what you want to do with them. But once you've unwrapped it, it's gone. It then goes into your customized menu. And let's just cruise on over here. We have a new type of loot system It's very dynamic in that we can control basically civilian loots, military loots, police loots, diner loots, civilian car versus military cars. We have a lot more control over everything that spawns in the world, as well as a lot more available spawn points. So since we're in a civilian house right now, you can see we've basically got a scissor shank, which is a low-tier melee weapon, and a box of sugar. So this box of sugar right here, this is considered one of those crafting supplies. And so you can see in the description it says this can be salvaged for valuable crafting components. We can then salvage that, and it's going to lump into my, my supplies here. I believe I got some chemicals from that. We've got a lot of different types of environments, so since this is a farm, we're also going to be exploring into towns, as well as we're going to be exploring into military bases and a little bit of camp play. So one thing that kind of happens in other survival type games is you'll end up finding yourself in an area and you want to go to another one. So say we're right here, but what if we say wanted to go to Stafford City right in the center? Well, oftentimes you end up having to go as the crow flies, and oftentimes what that means in survival games is that there's nothing between you and the next town. So we've really tried to eliminate that, and we've actually got over 160 camps on the map now. That's what these green little tent guys are scattered throughout. And basically within these tents you can find different unique camp style loot, and actually the zombies that guard camps have their own unique camp style loot table. Zombies that guard police stations have their own police style loot table. The same goes for military bases, the same goes for towns, and the same goes for farms. So we have 5 different unique zombie loot tables. You're more likely to find ammunition on a military zombie, and you're more likely to farm or find vegetables on a farm zombie. So that's kind of cool. So now that we've made it over to this body of water at the farm, I'm basically going to step with my feet into the water, and so that's going to allow me to then fill this bottle of water right here. And so I've gained dirty water. You can see then dirty water is going to give me -8 health, -10 stamina, 0 hunger, and it's going to give me some thirst. But overall, this is going to end up hurting me. So what can you do with it? Well, I have the option to purify it, because luckily I'm carrying purification tablets. Now where did those go? Oh, there they are. So that gives me the option to purify. If I say throw those out of the inventory, as you can see I can just take items and I can just throw them out by dragging and dropping now. So you don't have to just choose drop like that. You can just say I don't want it and just throw it out, Diablo style. So basically now that I've done that, I don't have the purify option. So what can I do with that if I don't have a purify option and I haven't been lucky enough to come across a tablet? Well, you can use your campfire. And you can actually purify water using a campfire by standing close to it and using the purify option there. You'll see then I have my clean water. I can then drink it. I've got another empty bottle. I can step back in the water, refill my bottle, and then I can purify it again because I'm within range of the fire. So base building now in the game, you can see there's a statue right there as I was showing it off earlier, but that is another statue right there, and let me explain what the statues do. So basically when you have a statue now, this defines your box, and inside your box you can determine this is my area that I own. And inside of it, basically, you can build objects. Other players cannot build inside those objects, and other players cannot set their zones flush to yours. Like this, I cannot place it right there. It's not going to allow me. It's too flush. We don't want players tampering with each other's bases. But once you go and place your area and you stake your claim basically with your statue, you can then place other objects in there, ranging from living quarters, which this living quarter, you can place a sleeping bag inside of it, or another player could place a sleeping bag inside of it, thus allowing them to respawn at your base. If you've got multiple living containers, you can have multiple people living out of your base, but if you own a base, it is also available as your own mobile respawn. You can also have a permanent cooking rack, which is a permanent fire, as well as another small survival shack that you can place a sleeping bag in as well as larger living quarters and even a strong box. So now I've got my statue over here, and if I come inside here, I can basically plop down my structure really quick and show you how that works. So it shows up as kind of what I call like a bubble object, and so other players can't see this unless they're in my group because I own it. But if another player is in my group, they can come over and they can actually help me build this object by contributing materials just by using the sliders and coming over and contributing their own supplies. So that's how that works, but let's go over here and let's check out a more full-fledged base so you can kind of get an idea of what it's like. So we've got stilts, as you can see, so we allow you to place this on any terrain, like say that you're on a hill or you can't necessarily find flat ground. I mean, there's not really a lot of flat ground around here, but fear not, with your stilts it'll balance out and make it a nice even area for you to to build on. So as you can see here, I've placed some farms inside this base. We can harvest these. They are time-based, and so they will regrow. No watering is needed. These are our two heavier duty objects. This one is a purified water right here, and so actually since I have my clean water, I can come over here and I can fill it right at this spigot and always have clean water in my base, one of the perks of being a base owner. As well as this campfire, it will hurt me slowly if I'm on it. It will also cauterize a wound, so in the event that you've gotten bitten by a zombie and perhaps are bleeding and you don't have a bandage or you can't craft a bandage, but you happen to have some wood or a harvesting tool and you can get wood, you can then create a campfire and cauterize your wound with it. Of course, then after a little bit standing near the campfire, you will be healed over time for being near it, but it will lower your liquids. Speaking of things that affect your liquids and food and water, standing in town, actually your food and water goes down slower than if you're running or you're sprinting. And also the other one that is a status modifier is the safe zones. If you're in a safe zone, we've eliminated hunger and water. We don't feel that it's fair to penalize a player for standing around in the safe zone and trading or talking to other players or taking a break and coming back and feeling like I need food and I need water and my character's dying. It just wasn't very fun. So players that are in safe zones now, they no longer lose food and water. Coming over right over here, this is a storage container. If I try and access it, it's not going to let me because I don't own it. This is owned by another player. It can be broken into, however melee, it's not going to work. It's going to be impervious to melee. We'd experimented with giving these things health values in the 2 and 3 millions, and we still ran into players getting teams of 15 guys all together with melee weapons to break in. And so we decided that that wasn't very fair, and now you need a good deal of explosives or ammunition to break into a storage container. So this acts as kind of a little home away from home because you can spawn at it when you die, or you can spawn at your sleeping bag, or you can spawn at proximity, or you can spawn near your group leader, or you can spawn in the safe zone. So this is one of the little camps I was talking about. I'm not sure why that other icon is over there. But basically here we're going to find really kind of generic supplies. We've got a chocolate bar, there's a broken window that's going to be glass, there's a broken rocket, a plastic container that can be broken down. Looks like that just despawned, ran out of time. We've got some firewood here. You're not really going to end up finding super high-end supplies. However, I do like the theory that some crazy guy, some crazy ex-military guy was living out here. And there is an odds that you might find some sort of rare pistol, rare shotgun, rare assault rifle, something along those lines. It's not going to happen every time. Of course, you're going to be much more likely to find that in a military base, but the camps do offer kind of a nice grab bag of loot. Like here we've got some antibiotics even, and a fresh tomato, a box of lard, some money, and cold syrup. And while it's loading, I'll explain on the map the liberation system. So you'll notice on the map that basically there's an area right here that says zombie infested area, zombies killed 0%, liberate the area by repairing and refueling generators and killing zombies. So each of our 4 main cities, which are Luton, Cosvale, Bamberg, and Stafford, they each 4 have a zombie infested liberation possible on them. I consider them to be tiered 1 through 4, tier 1 being the easiest, tier 4 being the most difficult. A tier 1 can be almost soloed, if not soloed, as well as duoed. A tier 2 might take 3 or 4 experienced guys. A tier 3 might take 3 or 4 or 5 guys. And the largest city is probably going to take around 5 to 6 plus guys, even up into the 10s. It really depends on how coordinated players are. Players are very clever, and I'm sure that even though I've said that they can be done with those amounts of people, I'm sure if people see the video, they're going to say, Artemis, I did it with 2 players, and you know what? More power to you. But show me how easy it is to do with 2 players if there's 10 other players trying to get you. So we do make this public as well, so when players are killing zombies here, the percentages are public, and when the airdrops do come down, this does turn bright green, letting players know the town has been liberated, zombies are no longer spawning, and airdrops containing very nice items are spawning. Those items are, of course, free-for-all. If you walk over to the supply drop and another player shoots you on it, that's fair game. So make sure you protect your supply drops. But some of the nicest items in the game can come from liberations. You get rewarded for liberating the town, a small GD item, a GD amount, as well as the liberation box, which can contain cool rare cosmetics. And so if you did a tier 4 reward town, expect the supply drops to come with epic loots. And if you did a Luton small tier supply liberation, expect lower tier assault rifles and things of that sort. Assault rifles that don't come with skins, pistols not with skins, just the generic low tier armor. It kind of acts as a stepping stone system between tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4. I basically suggest players try that out. From there, we've got our other 4 liberations on the map, which you'll notice have different icons. They actually have blue guns on them. And these are considered military encampments, and they're military liberations. These military liberations I tier as a 0.5. They're much easier. I've been able to solo all of them, all 4 of them, so I expect that players can solo them if they're resourceful. But ideally, probably 2 players. And so those offer just a nice little stepping stone. And so while you're in a military area looting, like the area we're at now, you might decide, hey, I want to do more than just loot the town, and I want to make killing the zombies end up being worthwhile. Well, we allow you to do that now, and you're going to get extra rewards for doing that. However, you're also probably going to attract a couple of vultures who are going to notice, hey, there's somebody over here that's liberating this. So that's one of our new really cool PvE encounter type things that's happening in the game that unlocks very valuable loot. I just wanted to walk through here and kind of show you guys some cool stuff with the way that certain areas are laid out. So we've basically tried to expand on playable area in the game, and so oftentimes buildings will end up having rafters and things like that. And so I'm going to demonstrate here that if you're paying attention when you're in areas, you might notice that the upper areas look like they have things that can be walked on. Well, that's because they can. And so in certain areas there might be boxes pushed up against things, and if you start to climb up the boxes, you might find yourself in an area that you never knew was lootable. And if you go up in here, you will find goodies, like here's even a cosmetic case. I've basically tried to reward players for exploring in the game. And so areas like this definitely have an increased chance of a rare item compared to other more generic areas. Say something that's just on a regular table out in the open will have less a chance of finding something cool compared to an area that is like this that ends up having kind of a little hidden compartment. So making our way over here, this is one of the generators, and so I'm going to kind of explain how this works really quickly. So on our UI right now, you can basically see it says zombies killed 0%, and then there's a little grayed out looking icon. That icon represents the generator. And so walking over to the generator, it says it needs a repair and hold E to refuel the generator. Well, I don't have a jerry can on me at the moment, and I'm not near any gas pumps, so I won't be able to do that. I also do not have a mechanical wrench, but the wrench works very similar to the way Team Fortress works in that you can just whack on it, and it will basically end up repairing it over time. And so you can do that, and once you get it working, that icon will turn bright yellow, letting you know that the generator portion of this liberation is complete, and then you just need to get the zombies to 100%. So basically start killing as many zombies as you can until it turns green and it says the town has been liberated or the military encampment has been liberated, and it will come with a timer saying this many minutes until your next supply drop. Once the supply drop calls down, you can see it right there on your HUD. It shows a chevron right through walls, as well as players that are on the map will see that the town is liberated and see that the supply drops are coming, and they will know your timers. Meaning your first supply drop will probably be uncontested, but after that, who knows who's going to be lurking in the shadows.